Okay. Let's get Audacity rolling, huh? And there it is. All right. This is Mondays with Mike, week 7 recap edition on a Tuesday. Um, had a nice little 2-week hiatus there, and I am just happy to be back in it because Google kind of figured out there's stat stuff. So it's way easier for me to check this stuff out, provide recap, analysis, all that other jazz. So I meant to get Skylar's prediction for that Thursday game, and I didn't. Oh well, I got Brady's prediction. Okay, here we go. Thursday night football. I don't even think we touched on it on the show because I hate talking about the New York Giants longer than I have to. But the Eagles with a 1-point victory over the Giants, 22-21. Obviously, we know the Giants had a shot to do it, and it didn't happen. Daniel Jones, 20 for 30, 187, 2 TDs, 1 pick. He also had 92 yards rushing. He had that big, long 80-yard rush that he tripped on his own feet for. I believe Devontae Freeman went down with an ankle injury pretty early. And their pass catchers, Sterling Shepard, 6 for 59 and 1, and Golden Tate, 1 for 39 and 1. Overall, I've said it time and time again, and part of it has to do with them not having Saquon Barkley available. This Giants offense is just not very good. Not very prolific. I'm not a huge Daniel Jones fan. I'm not a Daniel Jones believer. And I'm a Dwayne Haskins believer. So, I mean, I just don't see it in this guy. He has one cool little trick gadget, something or other, every once in a while, but it's not there. And if you want any proof, I believe it's now 20 games that Daniel Jones has played. He has 4 wins. 3 of them are on Washington. And he has a combined 42 touchdowns and interceptions. I mean, that's all you need to know right there. Carson Wentz, 25 for 43, 359, 2 and 1. The running game, again, not terribly good either. But receiving, Richard Rodgers, 6 for 85. That's a name Packers fans will remember. Travis Fulgham, 5 for 73. He's been kind of a good success story with all their starters that have been injured. Or, guys with higher draft capital used on them, like J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, for example, who just really haven't turned up. Boston Scott also put up 46 in the air and a touchdown. So if you played him in fantasy, you were probably pretty happy. Yeah. Overall, Eagles, I mean, this is a closer game than it should have been, but this division's just hot toilet water. So I don't know. I wouldn't look too far into it. Moving on. You got the Panthers and the Saints. Saints win by 3. I almost picked the Panthers to win this one. I've been saying all season the Panthers are better than people are giving them credit for, and there we go. And I would argue that they were a running back away from maybe getting it done. Mike Davis, 7 for 12. Teddy Bridgewater, 2 for 10. Trenton Cannon, 1 for 7. There's just nothing on the ground that was getting done here. And it's just been reported today that Christian McCaffrey, who showed up to the field in a practice jersey, then shed said red practice jersey for denoting an injured player, he is set to return this week. Teddy Bridgewater, 23 for 28, 254 and 2. And DJ Moore, 4 for 93 and 2. Robbie Anderson, 6 for 74. No other scores receiving, but a pretty good day overall for that offense. The sole sack on defense came from Brian Burns. And let's see, for the Saints, Drew Brees, 29 for 36, 287 and 2. Pretty sharp of him there. Alvin Kamara, 14 for 83. And then Brees actually had a touchdown on the ground as well. Marquez Callaway, 8 for 75 and no score. Kamara, 65 more through the air. Deontay Harris, 4 for 46 and 1. Jared Cook, 3 for 32 and 1. Traquan Smith, not quite the breakout star that Skylar was predicting, unfortunately. Let's see. And I don't even remember who Brady's breakouts were, breakout and bust was. Mine were good though. Mine were good. I'll probably get into that here soon. Um, Jets Bills. Wait a minute. Yeah, no, I covered them both. Jets Bills. Josh Allen, 30 for the. First of all, let me just say, Bills beat the Jets in a way lower scoring game than it should have been. I think. Josh Allen, 30 for 43, 307, no TDs or picks. And if you're hearing whining in the background, please excuse that. That is my dog who went in for the old snippety snippety last night. So he's a little shaken up. Josh Allen, he also had actually 61 yards on the ground, but no rushing scores on this game and no receiving scores in this game. This would have been all field goals. Tyler Bass, however the hell you say it, was 6 for 8 on field goals. What a bizarre stat line. Defense was pretty decent for Buffalo, though, as to be expected. Jerry Hughes, 2 sacks and a pick. AJ Klein and Trey White split a sack. Jordan Poyer with a sack. Dane Jackson with a pick. Trent Murphy, Dean Marlowe each with half a sack. AJ Epinesa, the rookie, and Matt Milano each with half a sack as well. So this defense definitely caused some problems for the Jets. Sam Darnold continues to disappoint. Clearly not the guy in New York, whether that's his fault or the coaching staff's fault. I guess we'll have to see when he eventually winds up backing up another team. 12 for 23, 120, 0 TDs, 2 picks. Frank Gore, 11 for 60. LaMichael Pirine, 11 for 39 and 1. Receiving, Denzel Mims, the rookie, leads with 42 yards. Obviously no scores. Not good. Not good at all. And I kept tripping my mind. I couldn't think. I said I knew that the Jets have more weapons than Washington, and I didn't want to exactly count Denzel Mims because he's a rookie, he's unproven. Because I kept saying, oh, they have Jamison Crowder. Brashad Perriman is on this team, and I keep forgetting Brashad Perriman is on this team, and he's better than 2 for 27. I'll tell you that much. Defense, not really a problem either. Terrell Basham, Quinnen Williams each get a sack. Jets are actually shopping Quinnen Williams. From what I heard, we got the trade deadline coming up in about a week. Quinnen Williams is one of the names that is rumored to be on the lookout maybe for a move. So we'll see what happens there. Browns Bengals. Browns win this one 37-34. Very high scoring game. I think we predicted it as such. And it was won off of a go-ahead touchdown right at the end by Donovan Peoples-Jones. Baker Mayfield, 22 for 28, 297, 5 TDs to 1 interception. Kareem Hunt, 18 for 76, no scores for anybody on the ground. Dearness Johnson, 1 for 3. Receiving wise, Rashard Higgins, 6 for 110 and 0. Okay. 6 for 110 and 0. Harrison Bryant, 4 for 56 and 2. Donovan Peoples-Jones, 3 for 56 and 1. No scores for Jarvis Landry. Odell Beckham goes down with what is then been reported yesterday as a torn ACL. That is done. Season over for Odell, it looks like. Kareem Hunt, 3 for 26 and a score through the air. And Njoku gets a score as well, 2 for 20. And so no Austin Hooper in this game. On defense, Ronnie Harrison with a sack, 6 tackles. BJ Goodson with an interception. Sheldon Richardson with half a sack. Myles Garrett with 2 sacks. Kevin Johnson with half a sack. So pretty decent showing from the defense here. Cody Parkey, 1 for 1 on the field goal. And the Bengals, Joe Burrow, 35 for 47, 406, 3 and 1. Gio Bernard, 13 for 37 on the ground with no Joe Mixon. Joe Burrow, 6 for 34 and a score on the ground. So wonderful performance from Joe Burrow, probably arguably his best yet. And in the air, Tyler Boyd, 11 for 101 and 1. AJ Green, 7 for 82. T. Higgins, 5 for 71 and 1. Gio Bernard, 5 for 59 and 1 again. So this is classic Gio Bernard. If you've been following the guy for a while, he doesn't really break it up on the ground, but he definitely is a difference maker in the backfield. Or not in the backfield, I'm sorry. in the receiving game, catching passes. Oh, that is enough. Darius Phillips, 2 tackles and an interception. Can you tell we spoil my son, my lovely puppy? Um, he makes these like over exaggerated sounds. It's like the dog equivalent of a kid sobbing with no tears coming out. And then you like look at him and he's just looking at you, and then he stops the minute you look at him like he's an idiot. One of those. Randy Bullock, 2 for 2 field goal wise. Washington destroys Dallas. This is one of many things that I got right on the show. And I just love pointing it out any chance I get. Dallas could not get anything going. 9 for 19, 75 and 1 for Andy Dalton. Gets hit real hard, helmet to helmet, by John Bostic, who gets ejected from the game. Ben DiNucci comes in 2 for 3 for 39. Zeke Elliott not even getting anything on the ground, 12 for 45. Tony Pollard and Andy Dalton each with 16 yards apiece. Receiving, Amari Cooper, 7 for 80. So he gets double digits if you play half-point PPR like we do. Otherwise, if you started a Cowboys receiver, you were really, really hurting. DeMarcus Lawrence, Everson Griffin, each with a sack. But aside from that, I mean, Greg Zuerlein, 1 for 1, gets the only points on the board for Dallas. Just a piss-poor showing from this team. Kyle Allen, 15 for 25, 194, 2 TDs for Washington. Antonio Gibson, 20 for 128 and 1, my breaker of the week. Also on my fantasy team, but I benched him and I proceeded to lose this week. Go figure. Terry McLaurin, 7 for 90 and 1. Logan Thomas, 4 for 60 and 1. So there we go. I kind of know, I know Logan Thomas is a decent tight end. I just wish that, they'd use him a little more. Defense. Chase Young with 5 tackles. John Bostic had 4, and then the ejection. Cole Holcomb with a sack and a pick. Landon Collins with a sack. Montez Sweat with 2 sacks. Ryan Kerrigan with a sack. Tim Settle with a sack. So Kerrigan keeps climbing on that Washington all-time sacks list. I can't remember if he got the all-time sacks or if he's now like second or something, but he's high on Washington's all-time sack leaders. Dustin Hopkins, 1 for 2 on kicks, and it looked like they were going to have maybe Logan Thomas try for a field goal. Interesting. I didn't watch the game, but no, Washington doesn't just win; they destroy Dallas. They move to 2-5. So now Philly's got the lead into the division by a half game, thanks to the tie that they had with Cincy. But it's looking like Philly, then Washington, then Dallas, and then of course those nerds, the Giants. Packers annihilate the Texans. Actually, I mean, they win by 15, 35-20. But Aaron Rodgers, 23 for 34, 283, 4 and 0 interceptions there. Jamal Williams set 19 for 77 and 1 on the ground. Davante Adams, 13 for 196 and 2 touchdowns. Amazing performance from Davante Adams. If you had him on fantasy, I'm sure you're happy. Malik Taylor, 2 for 6 and 1. Jay Sternberger, 1 for 3 and 1. So Davante Adams really getting all the line share of credit there. Adrian Amos with a sack. Chris Barnes with a sack. Kamal Martin, 6 tackles. Darius Smith with a sack. Not a bad performance from this Packers defense. And no field goals for Crosby. Deshaun Watson, 29 for 39, 309 and 2. Nothing on the ground, really. David Johnson, 14 for 42. He has really just kind of come back down to earth since week 1's neat little performance there. There's not much left in the tank for David Johnson. I'm sorry to say, he's just not there. Randall Cobb, 8 for 95 and no score. Brandon Cook, 7 for 60. Duke Johnson, 5 for 43. But then David Johnson in the air here, 4 for 42 and 1. This is where he's going to extend his life a little bit more as a player, less on the ground, more kind of a 50-50 split here. Will Fuller, 3 for 35 and 1 as well. And on the defense, no sacks or picks. So, well, I mean, there you go. That says what you need to know about Green Bay's O-line. And Kai Fairbairn, 2 for 3 field goals. We move on. Lions Falcons. This was the second of two games, one on a last second go ahead touchdown. And the Lions pull ahead. And I'm about to sneeze, maybe. And I've willed it away. Lions come up with the win 23-22. Stafford 25 for 36, 340 and 1, and that was Brady's breaker. Was Stafford coming in and having a good game or an above average game? DeAndre Swift 9 for 27 and 1 on the ground. Adrian Peterson 11 for 29. Kenny Golladay 6 for 114 and no score. Danny Amendola 3 for 62. Marvin Jones 5 for 80, and TJ Hawkinson 5 for 59 and 1, which was the go ahead touchdown to win this whole thing. On defense, Romeo Okwara had 2 sacks. Other than that, everybody pretty quiet outside of tackles. Can you tell he wants attention? Good Lord. Matt Ryan, 31 for 42, 338 and 1. Todd Gurley, 23 for 63 and 2 on the ground. Julio, 8 for 97. Calvin Ridley, 5 for 69 and 1. Kind of a quieter game than I thought. I mean, I was saying, honestly, throw everybody out here, but no. Defense, Keanu Neal, 10 tackles and a sack. Deion Jones with a sack. Overall, I mean, this was a quieter game from these two than I thought. I was expecting a higher scoring game, but the Lions improved to 3-3. Falcons are 1-6, and they continue their choking culture. Steelers Titans. This was a close one. Steelers come up with the win, 27-24, as I predicted. I was thinking I was the only one out of us three who picked the Steelers. Oh, and I want to throw out, I won the pick'em that we have at work. I didn't just win with the amount of wins between the three of us on the show. I won the whole damn pick'em at work with 13 out of 14 games correct. I'm soaking it in because I don't think I'm going to do that good again, but we'll see. Ben Roethlisberger, let's see, 32 for 49, 268, 2 and 3. So a lot of mistakes here for Big Ben. James Conner, 20 carries, 82 yards. Benny Snell, 2 for 2 and a score. Juju Smith-Schuster, 9 for 85, no score. Deontay Johnson, 9 for 80 and 2 scores. Chase Claypool, 1 catch that whole game for -2 yards. That's not good. And James Conner also had 3 for 29 in the air as well. Let's see. Defensively, Vince Williams, 9 tackles and a sack. TJ Watt, sack. Aside from that, though, nothing really going on there. No. And then there's just a quiet, hard-fought win. The Titans, Tannehill, 18 for 30, 222, and no picks. But Derrick Henry, oh my God. Bosa! You can see why we do the show when I take him to fucking daycare. Holy shit. Derrick Henry, 20 for 75 and 1 on the ground. AJ Brown, 6 for 153 in the air. What a good performance with a touchdown to boot. Corey Davis, 6 for 35 and a score. The score saves him again. Jayon Brown with an interception. Monty Hooker with an interception. Dane Cruikshank with an interception. No sacks on the defense there. Gostowski, 1 for 2. Missed a game-tying field goal, I believe. Chris Boswell for Pittsburgh, 2 for 2. Buccaneers annihilate Vegas, 45-20. Tom Brady, 33 for 45, 369, 4 and 0. Leonard Fournette, 11 for 50 on the ground, but Ronald Jones, 13 for 34 and 1, and then Tom Brady, 1 for 1 and 1. Scott Miller returns to form the week I drop him in both my fantasy leagues, so fuck you. 6 for 109 and 1. Chris Godwin, 9 for 88 and 1. It has been reported he has fractured one of his index fingers on that touchdown catch, so more to come as far as what's going to happen there. Rob Gronkowski, 5 for 62 and 1, and Tyler Johnson, 2 for 4 and 1. Mike Evans, notably quiet. Defense, Devin White, 3 sacks on the night. He had the only sacks on the defense. And then Antoine Winfield Jr. with a pick. That's the rookie. Raiders, Derek Carr, 24 for 36, 284, 2 and 1. Nothing happening on the rushing game. Josh Jacobs, 10 carries for 17 yards. Bust of the week, as I calculated. Because, of course, it was the best running defense in the league, and your O-line is all on the COVID list. Nelson Aguilar, 5 for 107 and 1. Darren Waller, 6 for 50 and 1. Aside from that, nobody really impressing on this offense receiving wise. No sacks on the defense, no picks on the defense. Trayvon Mullen with 8 tackles. Eric Harris with 6 tackles, but that's really it. And then Daniel Carlson, 2 for 2 for field goals. But this was Tampa Bay's kind of lights out showing here. And we had another beatdown that I predicted. Kansas City just waylays the Broncos 43-16. I seem to recall Brady saying this was going to be a lot closer of a game than it was. That was not the case, despite Mahomes not really playing his best football. 15 for 23, 201. Very muted game from Mahomes. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, 8 for 46 and 1. Chad Henne, 4 for -2, but he also had a score on the ground. Receiving wise, Tyreek Hill with a score, 6 for 55. But they had an interception return for a touchdown and a kick return for a touchdown. Byron Pringle with that kick return touchdown, and I believe it was Daniel Sorensen with the interception return touchdown. Tyrann Mathieu also had an interception in the game, and Charvarius Ward with a sack, and Tano Capassignon, I hope I said that right, with a sack. So overall, just another lights out showing, and Harrison Butker, 3 for 3 on field goals. Why not? Just a lights out showing from Kansas City, as you would expect from the champs. They are the most dominant offense in football. I mean, maybe tied with Tampa Bay right now, but there's just, find the flaw. I cannot find the flaw. The Broncos, 24 for 40 for Drew Lock, 254, no touchdowns, 2 picks. Drew Lock is showing that in the win that they had against New England, he was buoyed by the defense, because talk about stank. Phillip Lindsay, 9 for 79, no score. Melvin Gordon, 17 for 68 and a score. Also had a costly fumble. Drew Lock, 3 for 8 and a score on the ground. No real touchdowns in the air, of course. Leading receiver, Albert Okwuegbunam. I know I got that wrong. 7 for 60. Nobody else really impressing in the air on this team. And on defense, Draymond Jones with a sack, Malik Reed with 2 sacks, Bradley Chubb with a sack. So at least they're getting it done on the defense somewhat, but it doesn't matter. Does not matter. This was a beating, a shellacking, if you will. Chargers take on the Jaguars. Justin Herbert gets his first win here. 27 for 43, 347, and 3 touchdowns. And then you add on 9 for 66 with a touchdown on the ground as well. Just a wonderful game for him. I mean, he led the team in rushing. This team's rushing sucks without Austin Eckler there. Josh Kelly, 12 carries, 29 yards. Blah. But Joe Reed, 2 carries, 14 yards. He actually had a score, an end zone run. Yeah, it's got me thinking, honestly, we didn't really get to see very many carries out of Joe Reed and Tyron Johnson, but I really wish we had. I feel like they provided a little bit more explosiveness than Josh Kelly. I mean, I like Josh Kelly. He's a rookie, but he's not supposed to be a bell cow. I had him earmarked since the day we drafted him. He needs to be like a LeGarrette Blount. I'm going to throw some weird names out there. Mike Gillislee. Mike Tolbert, one of these guys that you just put in when you need to gain 1 to 2 yards and you punch him. That's it. You don't need to, because how many times do we need to see them run a draw at 1st and 10 and watch this dude get tackled behind the line of scrimmage? It just cracks me up. Come on. You know this doesn't work already. If you're running him with Eckler, that's fine. But, don't get me wrong. Kelly had a few good 3rd down conversions that I like to see. But man, I felt like when we gave Joe Reed the ball, or when we gave Tyron Johnson that really fast tight end the ball to kind of run with, there was a lot more explosiveness. They definitely caught the defense off guard a little bit. Just a thought. Keenan Allen, 10 for 125. That is his 25th game over 100 yards. That moves him to second all time on the Chargers list for 100-yard games. Jalen Guyton, 2 for 84 and 1. And Virgil Green, 1 for 26 and 1 on the catch for that. Do not watch that highlight if you're squeamish. Catches the ball in the end zone. Toe comes down and his ankle rolls so hard. His foot goes in a position that no foot should go. So I'm wishing him well in his recovery. It was not a pretty sight. I don't imagine we'll be seeing him back, which sucks because he's one of the best blocking tight ends in the league. But the fact that he held on to that ball when he came down, I mean, all my respect. And I hope he recovers because it was rough. It was painful to watch. It was something else. Donald Parham, 1 for 22 and 1. All this guy does is catch touchdowns, quite literally. I think his only catches have been for touchdowns so far. Former Dallas Renegade in the XFL. Mike Williams, noticeably quiet, 1 for 4. In fact, his only catch came from Easton Stick, the backup quarterback. You could tell that they spent our bye week just kind of organizing some weird gadget plays. And they threw Easton Stick out there for 2 plays, kind of trying to do like a Taysom Hill thing. They had him throw a weird little dodgy 4-yard pass to Mike Williams. And then they had him run the ball for a loss. It was weird. But I guess if you're going to try it against the Jaguars. I don't know. Defense, Desmond King with a sack, Kaiser White with a half a sack, Uchenna Nwosu with a sack and a half. He had a really good game. Damian Square with a sack, Joey Bosa with a half a sack, but don't let the stats fool you. He was definitely in on damn near every play. I mean, these sacks, we're talking about like 5 guys swarming Minshew. It just came down to whoever touched him first, I guess. Isaac Rochelle with a half a sack as well. No picks. Rayshawn Jenkins with 7 tackles, though. It was nice seeing him get involved on what's felt like every play. Gardner Minshew, 14 for 27, 173, 2 and 0. The first few drives in this game were 3 and outs. I think through the first 4 drives for Jaguars, they only had like 4 yards on offense. It was pitiful. And then Minshew starts to cook a little bit, and put on some of his offensive chops. Laviska Shenault Jr., 3 for 44 through the air. Chris Conley, 1 for 28 and 1. And James Robinson, 4 for 18 and 1 through the air, 22 for 119 and 1 on the ground. We definitely couldn't defend the run in this game. We definitely had a hard time. They kept defaulting to Robinson. They were kind of chunking us out that way. Keelan Cole, 1 for 12 on the not for a score, though, so what do I care? It was definitely just these little chunky passes that were just kind of driving them down the field. But eventually, Herbert kind of really turned up the dial in the second half, and it wound up being a better game. It felt like they made some of the shifts they needed to make, but I don't know. It's tough to call because we're playing Jacksonville. They're 1-6. It's like, yeah, I don't know. Good game though. I mean, I'm glad Herbert gets his first win finally. Moving on, Niners Patriots. Niners go to 4-3 with this banged up squad, and they beat the Patriots 33-6. This is the last time. Now, I will add, at the pick 'em at work, I did not pick the Patriots, but I couldn't remember, and I picked them on the show. That's the last time I think I will confidently choose the Patriots, even slightly confidently, because talk about stank. This team is not good. They're just, they might be tanking for Trevor at this point. I don't know. This has got to be some sort of Belichick plan. But Jimmy Garoppolo didn't play his best either. 20 for 25, sure. 277, sure. No TDs, 2 picks. Oh, there we go. Jeffrey Wilson, 17 for 112 and 3 on the ground. Who, you may be asking? Yeah, I know. I don't know. Jermichael Hasty, 9 for 57 on the ground. Kyle Juszczyk, the fullback, 4 for 18 and a score. I believe Deebo Samuel and Jeff Wilson actually got ruled out in this game, and I'm not sure about their status. Brandon Ayuk, 6 for 115, no score. Deebo Samuel, 5 for 65 and no score. George Kittle, 5 for 55. Obviously, nobody caught a touchdown in this game. For San Fran, Fred Warner, 3 for 4. I'm sorry, 3 tackles, 4 assisted. Interception, Dre Greenlaw with a sack. Jamar Taylor with 2 picks. Kevin Givens with a sack, Emmanuel Mosley with a pick. As you're going to find out, the offense was not very good here for the Patriots. Cam Newton, 9 for 15, 98, 0 TDs, 3 picks. PU. That's not what we came to expect out of Cam Newton. Jarrett Stidham, 6 for 10, 64, and a pick, because that's all this guy throws too. Damian Harris, 10 for 58 on the ground. That was it. Jacoby Myers, 4 for 60 in the air. It just, what a mess. Did I mention the Patriots aren't good anymore? Because they're not. Devin McCourty with a pick, J.C. Jackson with the other pick. And it's interesting to note, Stephon Gilmore is actually potentially being shopped. They may be looking to move him, which if that's the case, they are certainly tanking for, I assume, Trevor. I don't know. I could see Cam Newton going to Washington after this season, maybe being for one last hurrah with Ron Rivera. I mean, I was saying on the show, I'm thinking maybe I could definitely see Dallas making, shafting Dak going to the San Francisco, and then Dallas making a move for Matt Ryan, and Atlanta hiring a quarterbacks coach, like maybe a Pep Hamilton to be their head coach, and maybe taking a swing on a guy with raw potential like Dwayne Haskins. I don't know. I'm also a very sick human being. Seahawks Cardinals, a heartbreaker, but a great, great, great game. The Cardinals win in overtime. This is the only game I predicted wrong. I was a David Moore holding call away from having a perfect pick'em. So fuck that guy. Russell Wilson, 33 for 50, 388, 3 and 3. Not the usual Russell Wilson stat line here. It's very weird to see almost, any number of interceptions in that column, let alone 3. He also had 84 yards on the ground. Carlos Hyde, 15 for 68 and a score. Chris Carson, 5 for 34 and no score. Ugh. Tyler Lockett, 15 for 203. What? Have yourself a game, why don't you? DK Metcalf, 2 for 23. Would have had a big, long go-ahead score, but it got called back, obviously. And he had the play of the game anyway. Budda Baker had an interception, and he was looking to take it to the house, and DK Metcalf must have run about 70 yards to catch up with him, and he finally got him and prevented the go-ahead touchdown there. So wonderful stuff there. If you haven't seen it yet, and I don't know how you haven't if you're a football fan, but go track it down and watch it. Quandre Diggs with an interception, but no sacks for the Seattle defense. A lot of tackles, though. A lot of tackles. This was a big long game. This game went 9 minutes and 45 seconds into overtime. I think the Cardinals won it with 15 seconds left or something weird like that. Crazy. Kyler Murray, 34 for 48, 363 and 1, 67 and 1 on the ground as well. Chase Edmonds, 5 for 58 on the ground. Kenyon Drake, 14 for 34. Looked like he screwed up his ankle. He is doubtful. They're saying, I believe it was a partial ligament tear for him. So they're going to treat it like a high ankle sprain that keeps him out for a couple weeks, which sucks for my fantasy team, but that is as snake bit as it's ever been. DeAndre Hopkins, 10 for 103 and 1. Chase Edmonds, 7 for 87 and none. But if you played him in fantasy, I think you were kind of happy with just the overall points total if you needed to play him in a pinch. Fitz, 8 for 62. Dan Arnold, 2 for 57. Christian Kirk, 5 for 37 and 2 scores. Budda Baker, 11 tackles and a pick. Hassan Reddick with a sack, Patrick Peterson with a pick, Byron Murphy with a sack, Isaiah Simmons, the rookie out of Clemson, with a pick, and that was the one that kind of foiled Seattle's drive at the end, setting up for a Zane Gonzalez field goal. Zane Gonzalez 3 for 4 on field goals. And as far as missed kicks, I forgot to mention in that Chargers game, Michael Badgley missed an extra point and a field goal. So for 2 weeks in a row now, he is no longer the Money Badger. He's simply Badgley. Sorry. I mean, I hate to do it to him. Last night, Rams beat the Bears 24-10. Foles wins 28-40, 260, or I'm sorry, wins. Foles 28 for 40, 261, 2 picks. Not a good game for Foles. David Montgomery 14 for 48. That's about what you'd expect out of David Montgomery. Allen Robinson 4 for 70. Cole Kmet, I believe he's the rookie tight end, 2 for 45. Just not a good game really here. Khalil Mack with a sack. That rhymes. That's about it. That's all that's really worth talking about here for this this Bears team. Yeah. Jared Goff, 23 for 33, 2 touchdowns. I mean, we're seeing more of like 2017 Jared Goff, which I guess is better than 2019 Jared Goff. Malcolm Brown, 10 for 57 and 1. Darrell Henderson, 15 for 64 and none. No Cam Akers in this game. Josh Reynolds, 4 for 52 and a score. Gerald Everett, 4 for 28 and a score. And on defense, Leonard Floyd, 2 sacks against his old team. Jalen Ramsey with a pick. Taylor Rapp with a pick. And Aaron Donald, half a sack. Justin Hollins with a sack. And Greg Gaines with a half a sack as well. So, and Samuel Sloman, traditionally, the traditional rookie kicker stat line, 1 for 2. 1 for 2, as he's been most games this year. So that was it. That was your recap for week 7. Thursday night, we have the Falcons and the Panthers. And I didn't get Skylar's prediction for this game, but Brady and I are both saying go all in on the Panthers. I really like this team. I think they're doing way better than I'd expected them to do. Despite being 3-4, they're just more of a fun team to watch. And they get Christian McCaffrey back, it looks like, this week. So I just slam it. Slam it. Go Panthers. Anyway, I think that's going to do it. I am going to peel out of here and tend to my dying dog because he's clearly dying. He's so sad. So catch us Friday for the traditional show. And of course, I will try to be back here Monday this time next week to talk week 8. So all that said, take her easy and keep it crispy.